respectfully invite His Excellency Ambassador Noel Nelson Mason for his address. Excellency.
Excellency Director Devonmont, Excellency Director Morrison, Excellencies, Ambassadors, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of Gabon, dear compatriots, on this August 2023, it's my real honor and pleasure to welcome you here for the celebration of the 63rd anniversary of Gabon independence. I would like first to convey to all of you the cordial and warm greetings of His Excellency Ali Bongo Ondimba, President of the Republic, Heads of State. On behalf of our embassy in Washington, I express my profound gratefulness for your presence. I want to thank the State Department, particularly the Office of Protocol, for making the conduct of our work in Washington easier. Our embassy was afflicted by the passing away of my predecessor, Ambassador Michael Moussa, whom many of you have known. Please let's observe a minute of silence on his behalf. I thank you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the historic bond between Gabon and the United States dates back in the 1840s when a group of young Americans from Boston first set foot in Gabon and established the very, very first Christian mission in the country. It's called the Baraka Mission, although some of you will know a little bit. Last year, at the 70th United Nations General Assembly, the substance of the speeches by His Excellencies Ali Bongo Ondimba and President Joe Biden revealed how Gabon and the United States share a commitment to a world more peaceful, more secure, and a world of development and shared prosperity. This year, Gabon is assuming the chairmanship of the Economic Community of Central African States, a community which is strong of 11 members. For Gabon and its diplomacy, the current world continues to present multiple challenges, but also opportunities and avenues for international collaboration to tackle common challenges. Peace and security remains a key priority of Gabon and a fundamental condition for our development and prosperity. Our diplomatic actions on Africa and global crises follow from this conviction. Particularly as we face various threats, terrorism, illicit trafficking of natural resources, maritime insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea. Second, fighting climate change and preserving biodiversity has also emerged as a major domestic and international priority for Gabon. We have devoted 11% of our territory to create 14 national parks. We've added 9 marine parks also to protect marine biodiversity. We aim at protecting 30% of our ocean's ecosystem by the year 2030. As we begin to face the effect of climate change, we will continue to act on our commitments and responsibility. After the One Planet Summit recently in Libreville, we now look forward to participating in the upcoming summit on tropical forests to be hosted by the Republic of Congo. Now, allow me to pause and to express our solidarity with the United States following what just happened in Hawaii. As I say, climate change will continue to be one of our priorities. It is important for us to do our share, even if we're not very responsible for what's happening. Our emission responsibility is near to zero. Excellencies, let me talk about Gabon. The video we just saw traces some of our national policies for our development. We have been diversifying our economy to better seize the opportunities of the global economy. To this effect, we endeavor to create a more secure business environment for foreign and US investors. Our sustainable economic policies promotes the local and sustainable processing of natural resources, namely in the timber and mining sector. We've also resumed infrastructure so as to position Gabon as a gateway for regional integration in Central Africa or even in Africa. However, we are still adjusting to the socio-economic aftershocks of the COVID-19 crisis, because during that crisis, we took very bold social and economic measures, and the weight of these measures had an impact on the national budget and has been slow our economic diversification programs. On other fronts, we have undertaken since 2009 significant reforms at protecting human rights. We've passed many measures and laws, particularly to fight discrimination and violence against women. We've taken a very historic measure to ensure that 30% of political and state positions are accessible for women. We're also taking a number of measures to advance democracy and governance. I want to mention that this month of August is going to be a challenging month for us, because for the very first time we will hold general elections, that is presidential elections, coupled with legislative and local elections. This is for the first time, but the government is really working hard so that these elections take place in calm and peaceful manner. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me now turn to our relations and our cooperation with the United States. Since the establishment of our diplomatic relations in the 60s, our relations have been consolidating, strengthening, and expanding, particularly through regular political dialogue and exchange on issues of common interest. In 2021, at the invitation of President Joe Biden, President Ali Bongo Ndimba participated in 2 summits, one on climate in April 2021, and one on COVID-19 in September 2021. And last year, at the margins of the US-Africa Leaders Summit, President Biden also exchanged with President Ali Bongo Ndimba. On May 15, the President had a very fruitful exchange with National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. The President also made it a practice of discussing with various US officials that visit Gabon. So that dialogue has contributed in strengthening relationship between our two countries. While we remain a peaceful country on the African continent, tackling peace and security challenges is a key element of our cooperation and should be expanded. We are collaborating very well at the Security Council during our current mandate. We are also advancing on our military cooperation with the future signing of our defense cooperation agreement. We welcome the recent selection of Gabon in the National Guard Partnership Program. The U.S. Atlantic Cooperation Initiative constitutes also a new cooperation framework in which Gabon and the United States could strengthen existing bilateral cooperation. Gabon is eager to expand our work and our cooperation on fighting climate change and preserving and promoting biodiversity and the blue economy. On August 15, we received very good news. We cooperated with the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, Nature Conservancy, and the Gabonese government to issue the very first blue bonds on the African continent with a value of $500 million. That is really for the very first time on the African continent. This innovative mechanism will contribute to Gabon's blue economy, the restructuring of its debt, and moreover, the protection of Gabon's rich biodiversity and marine ecosystem. We are happy that the calls from President Ali Bongo Ndima to the US government to do more to support innovative financing for climate and biodiversity protection has been heard, and we will continue to work together to that effect. On the economic front, Gabon's eligibility to the AGOA framework is an important element of our economic relations as they stand today. We could use more US support to implement our recent national strategy on AGOA. We also seek more investment from the US on new sectors such as ecotourism and services. We are endeavoring to maintain sustainable debt ratios, particularly after some of the spending that we made to combat the COVID-19 crisis. And we view very positively the focus that the US government Africa strategy is putting on debt recovery and growth. Finally, we are very happy and very eager to finalize some of the agreements that we are working on now with the US government, particularly to make it that USAID could have a presence in Gabon, but also something which is at my heart and at the heart of many people that I see here tonight, which is the return of the Peace Corps in Gabon. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me a few words on our Gabonese diaspora. The Gabon diaspora in the US has been growing in numbers, and we support the US proposed strategy for African diaspora, and I encourage the Gabonese diaspora to join in that framework so as to be an agent of development and progress on the African continent, but also in Gabon. Dear compatriots, I take this occasion to thank you again for the warm welcome that I received from you and the discussion that we've had since my arrival in the US, in Washington, about 7 months ago. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I see some very familiar faces dating back from my years working with the Peace Corps in my country. It's been important part of my professional life. I want to tell to our PCVs here tonight that your work in Gabon contributed greatly to the relationships between our two countries and our two peoples. I thank you very much, and I hope that very soon the Peace Corps will return to Gabon. In closing, I look forward, as the new Gabon ambassador to the US, I look forward to a brighter future of our relations. Indeed, I am confident, pleased, and optimistic about the deepening of our cooperation, as well as the reinforcement of the bonds between our two people that started back in the 1840s with the young Americans from Boston. Long live to the relationships and friendships between the United States and Gabon. Bonne fête d'indépendance, chers compatriotes, and I thank you very much.
I thank you, Ambassador, for your speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor to invite Joe de Vermont, Special Assistant to the President and Senior Director for African Affairs, to deliver his speech. Please.
Good evening, Ambassador Masson, Your Excellencies, members of the Gabonese diaspora and friends of Gabon. Let me, on behalf of President Biden, convey our hearty congratulations on your National Day. As the Ambassador said, the relationship between the United States and Gabon goes back to the 19th century. But in the 20th century, in the 21st century, we can talk about an extraordinarily close, enduring, and strategic relationship. The presidents of Gabon and the presidents of the United States have, for decades, consulted, exchanged ideas, interface about how we work together to address opportunities and challenges, not just in Africa, but in the world. And under President Biden's leadership, that tradition has continued, and I believe that it has deepened. As the Ambassador said, we recognize Gabon's leadership in so many areas, which is why we invited Gabon to many of our key summits. And at the Africa Leaders Summit, we had a private exchange with President Bongo and 5 other African leaders to talk about the importance of elections as Gabon is entering its election season this month. The relationship between Gabon and the United States is so varied and deep. The work that we do together on the Security Council, the look that we look forward to doing as Gabon takes over the Economic Community for Central Africa, and the priorities that we share are the basis for such strong partnerships. So the work that Gabon does on climate change and conservation, and as the Ambassador said, we are delighted to support this historic transaction of the Gabonese Blue Bond that will contribute to protecting Gabon's precious maritime resources in a sustainable way. I had the privilege just a couple of weeks ago to go to Gabon, to Libreville, and to spend some time with the Minister of Environment as he walked through some of the incredible work that the Gabonese government is doing on conservation. We, of course, have a strong partnership on security cooperation, and we are committed to finally signing the Defense Cooperation Agreement that will be the foundation for more work together on these shared priorities. We also are on the cusp of deepening our partnership through USAID that will have many benefits for both of our relationships. And of course, as the video showed, we believe there are tremendous opportunities for trade and investment in Gabon, and we are working very diligently to make sure that both our private sector is aware of those opportunities and the various U.S. government and agencies are available to help guide and lift up opportunities for more prosperity for Gabon and for the United States. Finally, there is a tremendous amount of work that we do in public health to address many of the diseases and infectious challenges that the world faces, but that we can do together, and we're very proud of that. As the ambassador mentioned, our strong people-to-people ties, whether that is through the Peace Corps or through our Gabonese diaspora. Those are priorities for us in our relationship. And those are opportunities that we believe are near and that we can take advantage of. Just recently, as I said, I was in Gabon and I was supporting our Principal Deputy National Security Advisor, John Feiner. It is one of many engagements that we have done at the highest levels, from President Biden to Jake Sullivan, our National Security Advisor, to Deputy Secretary Wendy Sherman, to John Feiner's trip. And in those exchanges with the Gabonese government, we reaffirmed not only how important this relationship is, but our vision for deepening and expanding those ties. So once again, I'm delighted to be here to represent President Biden. I'm thrilled at all the friends of Gabon that are here today to celebrate our close relationship and to congratulate Gabon on its anniversary. Thank you so much, and this is an incredible and august occasion. Thank you.
I would like to bring this touch to the 63rd anniversary of Gabon's independence, but also to a bright future and a strong and expanding relationships between governments of Gabon and the United States, but also between the peoples of Gabon and the United States. And I wish you a very pleasant and good evening. Thank you.
My name is Michael Crane. I'm a coordinator for Friends of Gabon, Peace Corps volunteers. And today was an amazing event. The ambassador came and told us all about the future of Americans in Gabon. And he painted a great picture of the Peace Corps returning to Gabon. We're very excited about that. Yeah, and we'd love to see it happen.
Je m'appelle Lamba. My name is Lamba. I'm from Gabon, Africa. I'm from Seville. When I thought about the event was amazing. I loved seeing the different Gabonese, around here. I love hearing about what their plan is for our country and how they're going to help develop it more. I love hearing about saving the agriculture and the parks that they're going to build. I really like that, and how they're going to work around and bring more awareness to women and their benefits and the women and things like that. the event was great.
I just know that the relationship between Gabon and America is permanent and will never go away. And it's very strong. And look at us right now.
And for me, is hearing how I learned about you don't have to travel all the way back to Gabon to renew citizenship. That was huge for me, for Gabonese. Someone from Gabon living in America, so I can come to DC and renew my citizenship. That's been brought back. That was taken away for some time, but now I can come here and renew my citizenship and don't have to go all the way back to Gabon. So that's one thing I'm going to take away from here, along with developing our rainforest and our beautiful country.
Fantastique. Merci d'abord de me recevoir sur votre chaîne de télévision Game TV. Je pense que l'initiative et l'essor que notre ambassadeur, son Excellence Noël Mason, est en train de lancer aux États-Unis est très bonne. C'est une très bonne chose que l'ambassade ait repris notre fête d'indépendance et contacté et réuni non seulement notre communauté, mais aussi des communautés diverses, des autorités diplomatiques, des autorités politiques au niveau des États-Unis pour qu'on puisse se réunir et pouvoir faire la promotion du Gabon. Donc je pense que c'est quelque chose d'exceptionnel. Je pense aussi avec le climat, par rapport au climat dans lequel nous nous retrouvons, où le président Biden a réuni tous les chefs d'État africains autour du sommet US-Africa et a promis plusieurs investissements au niveau de l'Afrique, notamment par le canal de la diaspora. Je pense que notre ambassadeur a véritablement marqué le coup sur cet événement-là. Et c'est à encourager. Maintenant, s'il y a une suggestion, une proposition qu'on peut faire, surtout nous qui vivons dans des États différents que le DMV, ce serait bien que cette fête ou cette façon de faire se fasse aussi dans d'autres États comme la Géorgie, le Texas, la Californie, etc. J'en passe.
D'abord, je voudrais remercier l'ambassade de nous avoir invités, de m'avoir invité, ma famille et moi-même. C'était une expérience unique. Réellement, depuis que je suis ici aux États-Unis, je n'ai jamais eu la possibilité de célébrer le 17 août avec mon ambassade. Donc c'était vraiment un réel plaisir et une expérience unique. Et c'était une grande expérience en réalité. J'ai vraiment apprécié du début jusqu'à la fin de la cérémonie. C'était vraiment super, c'était émotionnel. C'était réellement quelque chose à reproduire.
Merci, monsieur Jean.
Merci déjà pour la question. Il faut le dire le plus souvent. C'est la première fois que nous nous retrouvons comme ça, en Gabonais, pour célébrer le 17 août. C'est quelque chose de grandiose, except pour l'année dernière, on a fait un événement, mais que l'ambassade organise, les autorités gabonaises font quelque chose. C'est la toute première fois et c'est quelque chose de très bien. C'est une réussite totale.
Absolument. Merci, Oné.
Merci.
Permettez-moi de déjà remercier nos autorités pour la personne de son Excellence Nelson Mason. La dynamique est différente. Depuis son arrivée, l'Excellence a une approche qui tend à fédérer tous les Gabonais. Vous avez décliné mon identité politique, mais malheureusement, ce soir ici, c'est le Gabon dont il est question, et non les partis politiques. L'Excellence s'est mis au-dessus de la mêlée pour rassembler toutes les filles, tous les garçons du Gabon, en compagnie de la communauté internationale pour pouvoir magnifier le 63e anniversaire de l'accession à l'indépendance de notre pays, le Gabon. La dynamique, elle est exceptionnelle. La communauté en avait besoin. Se retrouver autour d'un repas et de célébrer le vert, le jaune et le bleu. Je suis particulièrement touché de vivre. Ça fait plus de 25 ans, ça fait 25 ans que je suis aux États-Unis. Et de vous à moi, je ne vous cache pas, cette dynamique-là, elle n'a jamais été là. surtout les dernières 7 années. C'est le Gabon qui unit, qui transcende nos divergences politiques, qui transcende nos divergences religieuses, qui fédère et qui magnifie l'indivisibilité de la nation gabonaise dans notre diversité culturelle, politique et personnelle. C'était impressionnant de se retrouver des compatriotes et des compatriotes que je n'ai pas vus depuis plus de 7 ans, de partager un souvenir, de voir comment notre excellence vend la bonne image du Gabon. Le discours de son excellence, je l'ai devant moi, j'ai pris une copie. C'est un événement historique, je crois que je vais partager avec ma communauté de à la radio, à l'émission Fréquence Gabon, sur Nalifa.fr. Donc c'est vraiment exceptionnel, ça fait du bien de se retrouver comme ça, on en avait besoin. C'est vraiment quelque chose qu'il faut davantage encourager, célébrer et de montrer que notre pays transcende nos divergences politiques. Nous sommes tous un. La nation gabonaise, elle est indivisible et je remercie beaucoup plus notre excellence, son excellence Nelson Lissa, pour avoir pris son temps pour pouvoir rassembler le Gabon en compagnie de la communauté internationale. Merci.
Bon, voilà, donc la fête de l'indépendance, 63e anniversaire de la fête nationale du Gabon, ça a été, on peut dire, un waouh. Parce qu'il y a longtemps que les Gabonais se sont retrouvés comme ça, aussi en masse. Ici, on va dire comme ça, c'est grâce à son excellence, monsieur l'ambassadeur, tout fraîchement arrivé, et voilà, les résultats sont là. Et on peut donner d'abord un coup de chapeau à son excellence et à tous ceux qui l'entourent. Et voilà, donc on peut féliciter le travail qui a été comme on dit, ils ont travaillé d'arrache-pied pour réussir cet événement. Donc félicitations et bonne fête de l'indépendance à tous. Et Gain TV, AKTV Radio.